Have you noticed that employee morale is dropping and don't know what to do about it? Well, sit back, relax, and grab a drink. I've got just the thing. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, your go-to place for building your dream career and achieving your highest potential. I'm Allie, and today's another segment of Triple T where I reveal my top tips and tricks on anything related to career, work, or leadership. And for today, I'm discussing how you can effectively increase employee morale. Now, employee morale is important to have in the workplace because it is linked with so many outcomes, including performance, organizational system behavior, satisfaction, retention, you name it. And so typically when we see employee morale start to drop, start to get a little bit low, usually it's because there's been a significant change in the workplace. Now, this can be a leadership change, this can be an organizational change, or downsizing. That is a huge culprit. It could also be something as simple as just stunted growth. Employee morale can drop if there's no progression in employees' careers. And so you probably noticed that employee morale probably dropped from just one of those things that I listed. And that's often the case. It has something to do with a huge change. And so the question is that change happens. It's inevitable. How can we increase employee morale when this happens? And so to make your life significantly easier, I'm going to be revealing my top tips on how you can improve employee morale and do so in such a way that you can see long-term results. Now, if this is something that you've been struggling with, if you have noticed that employee morale has dropped recently, let me know in the comments below why you think that is. What happened in your organization recently that you think this happened? Otherwise, let's get started. Starting this off, you need to give employees a voice. There are several stakeholders in the workplace, but for some reason, employees get put at the bottom end of that list. And so as you can imagine, it's demoralizing. And so what you need to do is allow them to speak. Allow them to evaluate others, to give feedback. If there's a huge decision going on with the organization, allow them to share their opinions. It's great because not only do they feel like they're being heard, but it also informs you about what's going on. Oftentimes when employee morale drops, we don't know what it is, and it's just a huge guessing game. Save yourself some time and just let them tell you. Now, there's one thing I do want to point out though, just because you open a channel of communication doesn't mean that you are done. You have to actually listen and empathize with their situation. If you don't do that, then it's completely moot. You've ruined the whole point. So not only give them a voice, but actually listen to them. As for my next tip, you need to provide clarity. Employees are not mind readers. Just because they work for the organization doesn't mean they can read the minds of management. And so it's up to you to let them know what's going on. Where is the company going strategically? Are there any changes being made that they need to be aware of? If there are, then make it clear to them how they can change or how they can adapt to this change. If organizational goals are changing, what do they need to do so they can now reach these new goals and standards? If there are changes to requirements for promotion opportunities, what do they need to do now so they can land that next promotion? Make sure you're clear. By being clear, they're going to understand exactly what it is they need to do, and you're going to notice that they aren't going to be anywhere as depressed or low energy as people who are just completely in the dark, because they're going to know exactly what's going on and what they can do to make changes. As for my next tip, you need to incentivize and reward. Give them something to look forward to by tying a reward or an incentive to an organizational goal. It's going to give them purpose and it's going to motivate them to work harder or at least keep pushing out quality work. Now, when you do this, you need to make sure that you are specific. So make sure you are clear about what exactly they need to achieve, as well as what you're going to offer them. This can be a tangible or intangible reward, that is completely up to you, but you need to be clear exactly what the exchange is. And last but not least, keep your word. Employees have good memories, especially when it's related to them and being rewarded for something. Don't go back on your word. Once you figure out exactly what it is you're going to give them, give it to them. As for my next tip, you want to make sure you celebrate every single milestone. No matter how big or small it is, you always want to celebrate if there's a need to. It's a good way to keep morale up, as well as reminding people that you're continuously making progress. And so these can be related to organizational achievements, whether it's reaching financial goals, whether it's an anniversary, or maybe it's a change in management. But make sure you're celebrating and make sure you're acknowledging everybody. If this is a team or an organizational effort, make sure you acknowledge your employees when this occurs. And when you do celebrate, make sure you're giving both anticipated and non-anticipated rewards. Employees always love a good surprise, and so it's always good to change it up every now and then. I know a company I used to work for that every Christmas they used to give a lemon cheesecake, which by the way was amazing, but after a year or two it gets a little stale. So make sure you always change it up. In addition, don't forget to celebrate your employees. Employees have anniversaries as well. How long have they been with your company? Maybe they have a birthday coming up. So make sure you celebrate their wins as well and not just the organization as a whole. As for my next tip, you want to offer employee benefits. If you want to talk about raising employee morale, then you need to give them a reason to want to stay with the company. And so a good way to do that is just beefing up your benefits package. Maybe you can give them additional vacation days. Maybe it's additional health benefits. Maybe it's signing them up for an employee wellness program. There are different ways you can go about it, but just beef up the benefits that you offer them, because at the end of the day, you want them to be happy and excited to be associated with your company. Now, for those of you who don't have the resources to get some of these things, that is perfectly fine. Get creative. Take advantage of what your company has to offer. If your company offers a particular service, then let your employees reap off of those services. Let them utilize it every once a month or once a year. Let them get a discount. Let them get a privilege that nobody else could because they're working hard for your company. As for my next tip, you need to encourage work-life balance. One of the reasons why employee morale might be low is just because they are drained. They have no energy left. And so let them rest. One of the things that ends up happening, especially in the US, is that we're always pushing our employees because we're under this assumption that we don't have time. But the reality is that running a business is a marathon, not a race. And so let your employees go home. Let them recuperate. If you know that they have a personal situation, be accommodating. Let them come in an hour or two early and let them leave early. Give them a chance to recharge, recuperate, and give them back a little bit of control when possible. That is one of the best ways that you can improve employee morale. Just give them a little bit of control and a little bit of their life back. Last but not least, you need to weed out the jackasses. It's exactly as it sounds. If they are not on board with promoting a healthy, positive climate, they've got to go. The reason why is because all it takes is one person, one bad apple to ruin everything, destroy the hard work that you've been putting into for the past few weeks or months. And so if you're not willing to let them go, you need to retrain them and you need to emphasize that this is important to you. And if they aren't on board, you will eventually let them go because they simply do not align with the values of your company. But when we're talking about employee morale, you have to remember it's all about climate. And so if there's somebody who's not willing to promote the climate that you're aiming for, they gotta go. Otherwise, employee morale is never going to improve. And there you have it, my top tips on how to improve employee morale. Low employee morale can be detrimental to companies, and so it's important for leaders to take quick action once they notice that it's a problem. Do the tips that I recommended, and I promise you're gonna start seeing results. You're gonna see productivity skyrocket. You're gonna see employees are more outgoing and engaged with their work, and they're having better interactions with their managers. The only thing that I ask is just make sure you are consistent to a T with the tips that I outlined. Otherwise, you're not going to see some of the amazing benefits associated with having high employee morale. If this is a topic that's interested you, or if you want to see any more videos related to this topic, make sure you let me know in the comments below and I'll produce more content around this topic. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're notified of my latest videos. And make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter where I reveal content not shared on my channel. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure talking with you all today. Until we drink again, take it easy, everyone. Oh, That tastes like a candy cane. That's really good. She'll did a good job with this.